We are now joined by Ryan Hayden, the new athletic director at Jeannette. Ryan, congratulations. How did this come to be that you're the new athletic director?
Well, thanks a lot for having me, Sean. I've been an employee in Jeannette City School District for the past 3 years. I'm the 6th grade learning support teacher over there at Jeannette. And I've been an advocate for athletics and for student athletes basically my entire life. And when I graduated college, I stayed very heavily involved with coaching and things like that. And so when this position just recently opened up, I obviously had a very high interest. I certainly wasn't expecting it. I didn't really know about it. But my life's body of work, I think, has kind of put me on a path that when it came open, it was kind of a no-brainer as far as athletics and being an advocate for student athletes and helping kids. So, yeah, that's kind of how it happened. The position came open. I applied, interviewed, and just got approved last night. So, again, thank you.
You mentioned your athletic background. We'll get to that a little bit later with Hempfield and Seton Hill both factoring in. But you're a teacher in the district, so how does this new role affect that going forward?
Well, fortunately, and this is one of the reasons why it was a pretty easy selling point, I am the 6th grade learning support teacher, which means I don't have a home room. So I really have a chunk of time in the morning, where I'm not directly with students, and they were able, Jeannette, the people at Jeannette are great, the administration team is great, and they were able to kind of sit down and make that work around my teaching schedule. I will still be teaching 6th grade during the day. But then obviously after school events, things like that, I'll be able to be at all of those.
You are replacing Bill Petco, and Bill took over about a year and a half ago for Anthony DiNunzio. Did you have conversation with either one of them about maybe what this might entail?
Of course. Bill Petco actually was my high school baseball coach, so him and I have a pretty good relationship. So I did sit down with him a few times prior to this, and I did reach out to Anthony DiNunzio too. He's also a friend of mine, and those are both great contacts for me. Bill's surely a mentor for me as far as, like I said, he coached me, and he's really been very helpful and beyond generous during this this process the past few weeks.
So when people think about Jeannette athletics, they immediately think about the success of the football program, and rightfully so, of course, with the tremendous winning tradition. But some of the other sports have been very accomplished in recent years, including the boys basketball team and recently the baseball team as well. How do you continue to keep those programs competing at a high level and maybe raise the performance of some of the other programs in the process?
Well, I think as far as the tradition of winning, that has been at Jeannette for a long time, especially with the football program. And I think when it comes down to it, really you win with good people. And we have a great coaching staff. You mentioned football, basketball, baseball, and they have certainly had success. But we have a lot of great coaches, that really work hard with dedicated student athletes. And whether they get the recognition or the results that maybe the football team might get, that is still very important in its own right. And I will continue to try to build upon the strong tradition and encourage kids to come out for, other sports, not just football and basketball, as well as, trying to just keep the very proud tradition of the community alive and continue to get them, even more involved. But I'm excited to work with these coaches. I've heard a lot of great things. I know we have a lot of really great coaches. I'm excited to work with them and really sit down with them. I've coached for 5 years myself and played sports at a pretty high level, so I'd like to think that I can bring something to the table as far as knowing what it takes to really build, a winning atmosphere in everything and that kind of tradition of excellence in athletics. And that's something Jeannette has had, and it's really just a goal of mine to uphold that and continue it going in the right direction.
So a lot of talk has been about the new football field at Jeannette. Of course, the grass fields are becoming a thing of the past in Western Pennsylvania. What is the progress with the football field there in Jeannette?
Everyone's very excited about it. The turf is ready to be laid down, so in the very near future, I think we're a week or two away from some turf going down there, and it's going to be a great sight to see. It's going to be beautiful, and I'm very excited, for all our sports that are going to get to utilize the turf.
You talked about your background, graduated from Hempfield Area High School and then continued at Seton Hill where you played baseball. How did those experiences help mold you into the person you are today?
Yes, I played football and baseball in high school, and then played baseball for Mark Marizaldi at Seton Hill for 4 years. During my time there, I'd say I really learned a lot about, what it takes to be a winner at a high level, how to build a culture of winning. Maz is certainly a mentor of mine. So is Tim Buzzard, who I played for and coached under. I'm very passionate about sports, very passionate about coaching. Knew I wanted to do that right off the bat. So certainly sports have shaped my life, no doubt about it. The power in sports always is much larger than sports itself. It's so relatable to everyday life and the skills and the intangibles that it takes to be able to, be successful.
The 2014 season for you at Seton Hill certainly was a memorable one. What stands out about that going back about 5 years' time?
Well, we were right there knocking on the door every year. And what stands out about that year, obviously we made it to we won the Atlantic Regional Tournament. We went to the Division II College World Series. And that group, just like mostly every group that they have at Seton Hill is just a tight-knit group of guys that just winner personalities and love being around each other. And from that year, that's really what I do remember. We loved spending time together. We loved being around each other. Nobody cared who took the credit or who got the credit. And that was what was very unique about, some of those Seton Hill teams I've played on. It didn't matter who got the credit. There was one common goal. And, in team sports, that's really how it is. You have to be role accepting, and you have to understand the bigger picture as far as it's not always about you. It's about the team. They played an enormous part in my life.
And is that a message you're going to try to pass down to the high school athletes now at Jeannette that you'll be overseeing?
Yes, absolutely. I want the kids to represent themselves the right way and hold themselves to a higher standard. I want them to understand, when you're a student athlete, you are looked at a little bit different, and you do have a culture, and you have something to upkeep and represent yourself, the school, the team, your coaches, your family. You're representing those people at all times. I certainly want our athletes to represent and conduct themselves the right way, like they have in the past. Because it's not a sometimes thing. If you want to be successful, it's an all the time thing, and it's the little things too, on the field, off the field, making the grades, things like that. But ultimately, very, very excited to work with these student athletes and help them as much as I can.
Ryan, thanks so much for taking the time. Congratulations once again on becoming the athletic director at Jeannette, and good luck going forward.
Sean, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.